There is a stretch of highway in Queensland, Australia that has been named the Highway of Death due to the amount of murders and disappearances that happen there. Hello and welcome back, or welcome to my channel. If you don't know what's going on here, I'm a horror artist and I like to draw what I talk about in the videos. Now, nothing in the videos is meant to be insensitive to the victims or the victim's family, but I will be accountable for my art. But if you are a sensitive person, please do not watch my channel. You will be very, very upset. With that being said, let's move on with the video. The Flinders Highway is a piece of road that goes from Townsville to Mount Isa. It's an isolated nearly 900 kilometres of road that is labelled the A6 State Highway, formerly the National Route 78, before Australia started using the alphanumeric system to label roads. This road is called the Highway of Death because in between 1970 and 2018, 12 people have been murdered or have just disappeared on that particular piece of highway, and only one of the 12 cases has been solved. The cases absolutely baffled the authorities, but theories are circulating that the perpetrators are drawn to this piece of road due to the isolated nature, with potential low risk of being caught and hiding evidence in such a vast, uninhabited place. Now let's get into all the cases from this piece of absolutely terrifying road. Judith and Susan Makai. On the 26th of August 1970, Judith 7 and Susan 5 disappeared from a bus stop on their way to school. The bus stop was located on Ross River Road in Townsville. Unfortunately, the two sisters were found 2 days later in Antill Creek, just off the Flinders Highway, sexually assaulted, stabbed and strangled, with their uniforms folded neatly in their bags beside them. The day that they went missing, a woman staying at the Atkins Vale Hostel saw the girls getting into a brown 1963-64 Holden sedan with a very distinct grey-blue door on the driver's side. It had also been parked at the Antill Creek around the time of the murders. In 1998, a serial pedophile named Arthur Stanley Brown had a victim call Crime Stoppers that informed them that he may have been involved in the murders, and he was apparently working as a carpenter at the school where the girls went to. Apparently, Brown would take his victims down to Antill Creek to molest them. He also had a thing where he would replace different coloured doors on his cars. In 1999, Brown was charged with the sisters' murders, but he was declared unfit for court due to dementia and he died a year later. Robin Hoynville Bartram and Anita Cunningham. On the 4th of July 1972, Robin and Anita were hitchhiking from Melbourne, Victoria to Bowen, Queensland to get to Anita's mother's place when they both disappeared on the Flinders Highway. The last known whereabouts was at Pantline Hotel. On the 5th of November 1972, 4 months after their last sighting, Robin's body was found in a shallow grave roughly 80 kilometres west of Charters Towers in Sensible Creek under a bridge on the Flinders Highway, with 2 shots to her head by a .22 caliber rifle, and she was also sexually assaulted, but Anita's body was never found. Quite a few famous serial killers were apparently linked to the case, such as Arthur Stanley Brown, as mentioned before, Ivan Milat, and John Andrew Stewart, the Whiskey AU Go-Go killer, but to this day, the case remains unsolved. A $250,000 reward is still in effect as well, but no one has come forward. Catherine Graham. On the 29th of July 1975, an 18-year-old named Catherine Graham was selling books door-to-door in Townsville. While trying to make sales, she stopped at a phone box to call her mum around 8:20 p.m, saying that she didn't like the look of a man nearby and was panicked. She went missing and her body was found the next day badly beaten and raped in Antill Creek, where the Makai sisters were found 5 years prior. The case is still unsolved and has a reward of $250,000. The Spare Creek Murders. In October 1978, 23-year-old Karen Edwards 31-year-old Gordon Twaddle and 21-year-old Timothy Thompson vanished near Mount Isa while on a motorcycle trip from Cairns to Melbourne, Victoria. They were last seen getting into a Toyota Land Cruiser on the 5th of October 1978 from the Moondarra Caravan Park with an anonymous male driver. Their bikes and Tim's dog was left at the campsite and the three never returned. On the 24th of October 1978, Karen's body was found by a dog walker leaning up against a tree rotting in Spear Creek, 10 kilometres from Mount Isa. Police found Timothy and Gordon's bodies leaning against other trees in the same area. All had been shot in the head with a .22 caliber rifle. A man named Bruce John Preston was found with Timothy's bike, but he swore he just found it and they only charged him with theft. The trio's belongings and the dog were found at the dump. The dog was still alive, by the way. 40 years later, police received reports that the man that drove the Land Cruiser was Preston. He was seen with the three murder victims around the time of their murders, and his father owned the Land Cruiser. Preston was charged with murder in 2019, but was released on bail in 2020. Anthony Jones. On the 3rd of November 1982, 20-year-old Perth man Anthony Jones was on a 6-month working holiday hiking around Australia when he vanished near Antle Plains Creek, 25 kilometres from Townsville. He informed his girlfriend and father that he was on his way to Mount Isa to meet his brother, but he never arrived. After his disappearance, his bank accounts were never touched and he was never found. In 1983, a hoax letter was sent to police saying his body was in Fullerton Riverbed near the Flinders Highway, but after investigations were done, nothing was found. In 2011, an inmate from the Mount Isa Correctional Centre named Michael James Launders claimed he killed Anthony, but Launders died before making an official statement. A reward of $250,000 is still in effect. Michael James Isles. On the 23rd of September 2009, Michael James Isles just vanished on his way to a training course from Ayr to Townsville. Isles was a senior sergeant police officer. This was the first case in more than 20 years since the last murder and disappearance. His wife raised the alarm when he didn't touch base, and that's when a gun was found to be missing from the Isles gun safe and a note that may have suggested suicide because Michael was diagnosed with cancer. His car was found abandoned in a dry creek on an isolated property just off the Flinders Highway. His car had his police uniform, an empty box of bullets, and no sign of the missing gun. Michael was also nowhere to be seen. The state coroner said that it appears that Michael had ended his own life, but with thorough search of the area where his car was found, no one knows what happened to him and his body has never been found. Rhys Kearney. On the 21st of December 2017, Rhys Kearney, a 26-year-old man who was living with his parents in Jullerton, disappeared on his motorbike after attending a close friend's funeral. He apparently smashed his phone at home and then left. He was apparently upset and agitated and got on his bike to travel to Normanton to see his brother, but he never made it. He was last spotted filling up his bike at a roadhouse in Charters Towers. Family thought he may have crashed somewhere along the way, but his bike and clothes were found on the 8th of February 2010 at the bottom of a Telstra tower on the Newcastle Range, 20 kilometres from Georgetown. It seemed very suspicious. Rhys has never been seen since. Jaden Pino Thompson. On New Year's Eve 2017, 22-year-old Jaden was driving with a friend up to Cairns from Newcastle, New South Wales, when they apparently got into an argument. Jaden pulled over, got out and stormed off, and his friend just got in the driver's side and just drove off, leading Jaden there. Later on, the friend came back to find him but couldn't, so he just assumed that he hitchhiked to Cairns, so didn't report it straight away. When he didn't make it to the destination, police searched the area where he was left, but nothing was found. All bank accounts and social media have never been touched since, and he too has never been seen again. His mother has spent every waking moment looking for him. This stretch of highway for over 50 years has been the scene of some horrific crimes. There are rumours of at least one thrill killer that roams this highway that gets a kick out of murdering people who knows the country well to hide the evidence. In 2014, Andy Albury confessed to killing 14 people in the area between 1970 and 1982, including Tony Jones. He was already in jail for killing an Aboriginal woman in Darwin in 1983. He apparently cut off her breasts and gouged out her eyes with a broken bottle. Albury apparently had fantasies of committing random meaningless murders and enjoyed people being terrified before their deaths, but apparently some of the deaths along Flinders Highway were committed when he was still just a child, so it really couldn't have been him. My thoughts on this whole thing is that I think the earlier cases with the similar ways that the bodies were found and the way that they died may have been the same people or person, but the latter ones are different. The people or person that did the earlier ones seems to have died. Hence the reason why no one has died the same way since. But it's definitely a weird and eerie place with stuff still happening up there. Maybe it's a place with dark forces that may get some people or may get to some people or lures certain people to their deaths in that area. Who knows? Let me know your thoughts on this piece of absolutely terrifying highway, and what do you think? Do you think that there is a thrill killer or several thrill killers that have been up there that scour that particular piece of highway, or do you think that it's some of the cases are weird extraterrestrial in nature, or some sort of dark entity force in nature? Let me know. Just let me know your thoughts on the whole thing. And I also found it interesting that some of the killers have 3 names, and I have noticed that with some killers, they for some reason they tend to have 3 names. Weird. Explain that one to me. But anyway, the illustration that I decided to do for this video today is not my best work. I'm actually not overly happy with this piece, but the vision that I had, that I obviously didn't execute very well, in my opinion, was of this monster roaming this land with a shotgun, like a 22 caliber shotgun as an arm on one, and then he's got this big bulky arm on the other. He's got this monster head hanging from his belt as like one of his kills, which has been shot through the center of the head, and he's just got all these eyes coming out from his back that look around for victims. So yeah, this is just the thought that I had for these cases, just this monster roaming around looking for people to kill. And yeah, but anyway, that is it from me. If you like this kind of content, like and subscribe. Dislike it, I couldn't care less, because it all goes towards the algorithm to push me up so other people can find me and watch whatever's left of this video. I'm not sure there's much left, but I will see you guys in the next one, hopefully. Bye.